Welcome to another Youth Alive North Texas podcast. Man, we're excited that you guys jumped on the call today. I've got a very, very special friend of mine that I'm a little upset with because a couple years ago he moved to New Mexico. He was a former youth pastor here in North Texas. My friend Tyler Harris is on the call today. I've got some great questions, some great insight from Tyler's perspective. You guys are going to love it. Tyler Harris. Tyler, tell us a little bit about yourself. What's going on?
My name is Tyler Harris. Not much, man. How are you doing? How's it going?
Good. Tyler, you married, have kids? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Married 5.5 years. We met at Southwestern, the standard North Texas couple, right? Grew up in Dallas, and my entire life is in Dallas. That's where all my best friends' family are. And we, a year and a half, felt led to make a transition and come out to Albuquerque and serve at a church. And we felt like we needed a faith step in that transition. And so we went from a full-time job in North Texas as youth pastors to now I'm a part-time youth pastor at our current church. So that's kind of the quick and short of just where I'm at and who I am and stuff. So
yeah, and a lot of people may not know, but Tyler, you are the face and the hands and the brains that help put all these podcasts on. You help our website and a lot of our media here in North Texas Youth Alive. And I know a lot of people may not know that, but publicly now they all do. All the masses, they know that you are so technical and you're so good.
Because all 600 churches, youth pastors, they all listen to this podcast. I know the numbers. I see it.
Absolutely. So, but Tyler, thank you for doing that continual basis. My first question for you as we jump in is how have you said it, juggled a full-time job now outside of local church with a full-time ministry? Because we know there's no such thing as part-time ministry. You're in it all the way full-time. So how do you do both? How do you consistently stay sane and do both?
It was really, really hard for about the first 6 months. So I went from it, like I said, from a full-time job. I remember like at a table of other part-time pastors going, you guys are my heroes because I could never do it. Literally at Christmas in like 2014, I said that to a bunch of part-time youth pastors in Texas. And now I'm here. We the first 6 months I was dead. I was working part-time. We say it's part-time youth pastor, but really if you're part-time, it's full-time with part-time pay. And so I was full-time with part-time pay and then part-time at another company doing graphic design, and was just dead and exhausted. And my senior pastor actually finally came up to me and was like, dude, this is not the Tyler I knew. We knew each other from before. I came to the church and he's like, this isn't what I expected. You don't have any passion. There's nothing, like, this isn't you. And I was like, you're right. It's not. And what I had to figure out really, really quick there was I had to protect my rest time more than anything else. And so I knew there were going to be things that I couldn't do when it came to my part-time job. There were things that I would have to say no to at the church. And I figured those things out with my pastor. It wasn't just me alone. Hey, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. It was just going, okay, these are my priorities as your senior pastor. And then everything else was like, okay, and now you need to learn how to rest. You need to figure out when you can rest. And that's actually in the past year has really, really helped me. Now, if I have to go a couple of weeks a lot harder, I know how to rest through that time that I can last and not burn out and not get exhausted. And so rest was the biggest key for me that fixed that transition from full-time to part-time.
That's awesome. I love that angle. I've heard people talk about it from different sides, and I love that, keeping you fresh, staying there. Tyler, when you took over your student ministry, you and I have talked multiple times. You started out with a handful of students, I think it was like 8 or 10 students. And over the last year and a half, you've grown that, and your youth ministry has been successful. Seen a lot more students come through. I'll brag on you. You're running between 30 and 40 students there in New Mexico. How did you do it? How did you stay faithful with the small in order to grow it into what God's given you more?
It was really, really interesting. So our first Sunday here was like the Sunday after Mother's Day, and we had 10, and then almost immediately the Sunday after we had 20. Like it was a complete complete 180 to the size of the youth group, and it was really really cool. But it was also really interesting because of the part-time factor of I'm not going to be able to go to as many sports games, as many recitals. I'm not going to be able to really connect with these students as much one-on-one. And so we just really started to pour into the times that we had with them, which was morning and Sunday night. Our youth service is Sunday night. And we just said, we're just going to get to know these students and give them what they want, which they were hungry for a spiritual environment where they could draw closer to God. They wanted to know more about Jesus. So a lot of it is like, yeah, I did this, and this, but truthfully, these students were so wanting to get closer to God, that when I came in and said, hey, I'm going to help you, I'm going to disciple you, I'm going to get you there, they started just eating up everything that we were talking about, just really digging in, texting me, asking me questions, and really just building relationships with me. Like I all of a sudden had a bunch of youth students that they wanted to be around me and wanted to hang out with me. And so I just loved on the students. Like there's no like, there wasn't any formula I followed. I just came in and said, God, do what you want, use me. And then the teenagers were like, hey, God, do what you want, use us. And that's what literally happened. I've really tried to figure out like, what have I done to do? And the answer is, I have no idea. I don't. We've just been consistent. We've done the things that we know to do. We've been faithful with what we had and said, God, we're going to preach your word. We're going to worship you. We're going to give. We're going to give to speed the light. We're going to do all the basics, because we don't have time to do anything else. And God has blessed us in that. And so it's been really, really cool. It's been a lot of fun. Just hanging out with students and becoming not just their friend, but their pastor or their big brother, and working with them and being with them through the hard times and everything. It's cool.
That's good. I think the word that I hang on to is you're consistently giving them love and God's word. And man, consistent things grow. And Tyler, thank you for being part-time, full-time, whatever you want to call it, loving on students. And I know God's got even greater things for you and Natalie there in New Mexico. Now, when you went to New Mexico, I remember the love that you have for your senior pastor and how important it is for a youth pastor to serve that senior pastor. Sometimes you're serving him more than you are even the church or the building or the programs. Talk to me a little bit about how you can, as a youth pastor, serve your pastor and how important it is.
Yeah. So like what makes being part-time easier is I love serving my pastor. Probably bigger than my input, my consistency with our youth ministry is my senior pastor's consistency with our youth ministry. Like his heart helps us move forward in every area, helps me move forward in every area. I first and foremost, I love the guy. Like I genuinely, as a person, really, really enjoy my senior pastor. I like spending time with him. I like going bow fishing with him. I like just fishing with him. I like just hanging out. I like working on projects with him. I like moving tables and chairs with him. Like I genuinely just enjoy being around him. But he also does a really good job of sharing his heart with me and letting me speak into that. Even knowing 90% of the time, whatever I have to say into his heart, he's already thought of, processed, figured out. Or he's got something else on his mind, and so he's going to completely forget it. He still lets me speak into his heart, where he's at, his vision. And so being able to that I have a senior pastor that makes himself available to me has helped me catch that vision even more so. And this is like months and months before we came to Albuquerque. We had conversations again, because we've actually known each other for years and years, since before he was a senior pastor, and just building those relationships, being that friend, and then saying, this is a guy I want to learn from and grow from and be more like, and then having the ability to serve under his team, under his vision, with his vision in his youth ministry. It's made it so much easier that I can love the guy, love his family, and go over to his house and spend hours there around a fire pit out back or in his living room, just talking and with him and his wife and me and mine. And it's just he's enjoyable to be around.
Yeah.
And so that has all made it super, super easy to just serve him, serve the vision. And then he follows through. He's consistent, right? He really follows. If he wants to do something, he does it, and he does it well. And it's so much fun to watch crazy stuff happen. Like we give like 10% of our monthly income to missions. It's like insane stuff. We have food pantry every single month, because we want to serve the community. All of our events are about serving. That's his heart, and that's a heart I can get behind. It's cool.
That's awesome, Tyler. Tyler, you went from North Texas to New Mexico. I know there's a different shift in student culture. Students are involved in some different things, and just the climate there. How have you made that adjustment?
So I kind of had the benefit of being exposed, having experience with New Mexico teenagers, because I started serving as a Southwestern AG rep in 2010 at the summer camps. So I would come to the summer camps and promote Southwestern, and hang out with the students. And so I kind of had an inside track. I got lucky that way. But now that I've been here consistently for over a year and a half, um, what I've really taken away is that they're really not much different. Teenagers are teenagers just about wherever you go. Um, there are minor differences, like green chili, and not many people drink sweet tea here. Um, uh, and then not being Texas, not being the Bible Belt, is definitely another difference. You work through some more things. You can kind of assume everybody has these thoughts on different topics, and you can't assume those things here. But all in all, teenagers are teenagers, and they want people that will listen to them, that they can believe in, that they can trust, that they can learn from. They want to be mentored, and the biggest shift has been actually the church cultures. The churches I've been in have been great churches, but we came here, and for whatever reason, we fit the culture of the church itself extremely well. Like again, one of my pastor's conversations is, we're 3 months in, and he's going, it feels like you've been here 3 years, not just 3 months. We just really, really fit the culture. And so finding a church, more so than just a city or a state or a location, finding a church that you fit the culture of, I think, Matt, for a youth pastor, matters more than just finding a city you want to live in, or whatever. And God helps direct that for sure. He wouldn't set up the relationships or the way in if it wasn't for to New Mexico with the camps. If it wasn't for him, this is where he wanted me, he wouldn't have done that. And so God, knowing me, set all of that up so that we could connect with our students in the right culture, in the right way. And we really do. It's incredible how well we connect with our students, just because we fit the culture of where the students, of the whole church, of where the students are at, and just jokes and attitudes and everything. It works really, really well cohesively.
Love it, Tyler. I didn't even know you're jumping into that. But what you're saying is, to all those youth pastors out there looking or might be looking for a job, to really look at the culture, not just the building, not just the name of the church or the city, but to look at the culture, the personality, the connection before you ever go into that church. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. Well, and that goes back to like if the senior pastor sets the culture, and being best friends with, I say that it's funny hearing it out of my mouth, being friends with the senior pastor, and knowing the culture he wants to create, helps set the culture for the youth ministry. It sets the culture for the kids ministry. Even if you're the guy over it, even if you're the person that's in charge of the ministry, the vision, the heart for the house comes from the lead. My heart for my youth ministry comes from the lead. And so I saw that before coming in, when they had 2 students, and he's going, this is my heart for this youth ministry. And I'm going, I want to get behind that, and I want to push that forward for you. I don't want to just come in and do my own thing. And that, like there's again, there's differences between Texas and New Mexico. but they're so small in comparison to how teenagers are nowadays. And culture's so weird because the pace at which culture changes has shifted faster and faster with the internet and Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat. It really has, where you have entire decades of the 70s, the 80s, and they're all personified by this type or that type. Where now we're looking at the past 7-10 years going, this I don't get what the deal was in 2008 that's different from now or the same from now, because the cultures have like all become like microchasms of different types of things. I'm getting on a tangent, but culture is so different from anything we've understood in the past, that even that we have to look at the foundational. Okay, what is a teenager like, and where do we work from there? They're trying to figure things out. They're experiencing things for the first time. They're feeling emotions for the first time. Well, let's work from there. And from that basis, New Mexico teenager students, Rhode Island students, New York, they're all the same. They really are.
That's good. That's good. Hey, last question for you, Tyler. Some good stuff you've been spitting out here. Last question. I hear this a lot because youth pastors, they move around from district to district. And when they come into a new group of youth pastors or network of leaders, they struggle. They struggle to connect. They struggle to fit in. How was it for you when you went from North Texas to New Mexico? And how did you make those inroads to connect and fit in? And what would be some tips that you give guys that are making those switches as well?
So again, because I've kind of been around since 2010, I kind of had a head start. But when I came here and we were settled here, all the guys that I had a head start with, they're now senior pastors or they've transitioned out and they're on a different level, different league from where I'm at now. Still, even back then I was kind of the young guy, the college student who's just coming in for a couple of weeks. And so one of the things that I've started to do consistently is at district events. It's called our network here. I just try to connect with whatever guys I can. Just go out of my way and be the extrovert and connect and touch base. And my DYD was really cool. He set up we went to West Texas for a conference, and we took a couple other youth pastors, and so I was able to connect there. But then I took it a step further. I had built relationships in these tiny relationships in these little areas, and I said, hey, can I just come check out your youth group? Now mine's on a Sunday, so that opens me up on Wednesday nights. So I can, where other youth group pastors are in their service, I can just show up and hang out. And so I've done this twice now. I've gone to a city called Los Alamos and hung out with the youth pastor there all Wednesday night. And I did nothing. I didn't go to speak. I didn't do announcements. I didn't play worship. I literally just stood in the back and watched. And then afterwards, we talked a little bit about it. He did have me come up and stuff my mouth with Sour Patch Kids. I fit like 105 Sour Patch Kids in my mouth. It was awful. And then I did it a couple of weeks later in Santa Fe. I went to Santa Fe on a Wednesday night, and I just hung out with the youth pastor and said, hey, I'm not here to do anything. I'm not here to speak. I'm not here to take any spotlight. I just want to hang out, see your youth group, and support you. And so building those relationships by just honestly just showing up the same way we do with teenagers. It works the same way of just saying, hey, I like you. I want to be your friend. I want to get to know you a little bit better, connect with you. So why don't I come to your youth group? And the youth pastor's never going to say yes. Like in my mind, that's the biggest like ego stroke of this guy wants to come to my youth group. Absolutely. Yeah. Let's get him over here. That's so cool.
That's awesome. Tyler, thank you for your time today. You are the man, and I really, really am upset that you're no longer in North Texas, but I am also glad that you're in New Mexico, putting the culture, putting the life and vision there in that district, or as you call it, network. So, hey, thanks for the time, and thanks to all of you out there for listening and making this a great podcast.